So let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that could be. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Wow. I can't teach this program and not include, I have to teach you everything, not just, I'm not going to do this half-assed. When we're talking about yoga, we're talking about the body, we're talking about the body systems. We start talking about the reproductive system, which is so crucially important for your health. It's important for your health, the reproductive organs and systems and their functionality, how they function, and also your attitude about your own body and pleasure. So you might have seen, if you have an interest in lazy monkey yoga and this is a Taoist yoga style and Taoist alchemy and stuff, you might have done a little research and you might have read online. There are a lot of techniques that come from the Taoist tradition when it comes to optimizing reproductive health and using reproductive energy as a source of vitality and energy. Spiritual energy is sexual energy, and sexual energy is spiritual energy. It is the creative force. It's the creative force of the universe driving us. That's why they call it the sex drive, driving us. It encourages us to reproduce. There's a very good reason why sex is pleasurable. Very clever. Sex is pleasurable because there has to be some kind of incentive there for the human race to want to procreate or create new life, or some biological mechanism inside that gets people horny, that biological clock ticking away, and let's go ahead and take a step back and talk about the Taoist view of sex. At least from my understanding, my perspective, and the schools of thought that I have paid attention to and studied. Taoism is a very sex-positive religion and sex-positive philosophy. There's nothing wrong with sex in Taoism. It's not sinful. It's not bad. That whole concept of sin is totally missed on Taoism and other non-Jewish Christian and Muslim pagan traditions, because when we say pagan, we're talking about pagan being non-Christian or whatever. Taoism is a pagan faith. It's a pagan tradition, just like Shinto, just like Ifa. These are traditions that are based in nature. They are nature-based traditions. And since the reproductive system is part of the entire body, it makes up a part of the entire holistic makeup of a human being. And because there is impetus from the universe to continue to create, we hold these creative forces inside. They're just busting to get out. And then also affirming that life is a good thing. Life is a good thing. It's good to be here. And that is the general attitude towards sex in Taoism. So you're going to have to take a seat and sit back and think about, how do you feel about your body? How do you feel about your body? And also sexual pleasure. How do you feel about giving yourself sexual pleasure? A lot of Taoist practices can be done solo. Masturbation for men and the self-cultivation of the member happens a lot in masturbation practices for a man. They are practices that are done with a partner, but a lot of practices are done solo. Same thing with women. And what I had said before, what I had talked about before in a previous lesson about lazy monkey yoga, when you're practicing lazy monkey yoga, it gives you the opportunity to become embodied, to really turn your focus inward and look inward and see what's going on inside your body. So that when you stretch this way, or you stretch this way, or that way, or you compress in your internal organs in this way or that way, massage them, things will start happening to your body. You might start belching because the digestive system now is starting to function properly. You might sneeze or something because your immune system is getting rebooted, or you might have gas because you're massaging the internal organs and things are moving around in there, and so the lazy monkey yoga technique is like getting a very nice gentle massage, or even a massage that has a firm pressure. So there's going to be releases that happen in the body. And that will happen in the pelvic region, in the pelvis, in the rectum around the anus, in the vagina, in the penis. Those things will, the bladder, the kidneys, and the ovaries, and everything. All of that stuff is getting messed with when you're doing lazy monkey yoga. So you might find while you're practicing that you start feeling, if you're a man, you might start feeling aroused, and you might start to get an erection while you're practicing lazy monkey yoga. You're doing the sequences and the postures, and you feel like a rush, washa, and you just feel all the channels open up in the body, and the blood starts to flow, and the penis becomes engorged and hard as a brick. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. And if you're a woman and you're doing certain postures, you might feel your breast become more sensitive, or your nipples start to tingle, or your vagina and your clitoris starts to tingle, or you start getting really, really wet inside when you're doing particular lazy monkey series, and you have to go change your panties after practice because they're soaking wet with all of the fluids that are coming out. So what I'm trying to say is that lazy monkey yoga is a practice that encompasses all the body systems. And that's why I don't understand why in most 200-hour yoga teacher training programs, they don't talk about anything from the waist down. They don't talk about that stuff at all. And so I have to go ahead and tell you about this now. I have to go ahead and warn you about these things now, because these are the things that are going to happen to you as you start becoming more embodied, as you do the practice, and the practice starts affecting your body. And that's what will happen. You become good at what you practice all the time, right? Well, at least you should become better at it if you do it all the time. So if you're practicing lazy monkey yoga, you're going to find this there's all this energy that's going to start like radiating up, generating, moving, breaking down barriers in your mind, your body, removing blockages. Your chi is going to be flowing, and you're going to be feeling all kinds of things. The body will experience lots of different experiences. Some might be uncomfortable. There might be some discomfort, and then other experiences might be extremely pleasurable. And if you find yourself in a position in this practice where you're finding a lot of pleasure in the movement, and that pleasure is circulating through the hips, the pelvis, through your vagina, through your penis, then and your anus, enjoy the sensations that you're receiving by doing the practice. It means that it works. It means that everything is working, and that's what you want. You want everything to function optimally, and that's what lazy monkey does. So that's a little introduction to sex and Taoism. The attitude towards sex and Taoism is very healthy, very positive. It's a good thing, not something to be ashamed of, not something to be hidden away or trivialized at all. that the reproductive energy that we have, both male and female, divine male, divine female, that's a creative energy and it's a spiritual energy. And when practicing lazy monkey yoga and moving that energy around, you're going to experience biological you're going to get feedback from your genital region when you do this practice. I had to include this so no one is surprised when they're practicing and these things start to occur. You need to know that's going to happen so that you're able to process through it, enjoy that process, and then be able to answer those kinds of questions in the future if someone comes to you and says, hey, you know, when I take your class, I get really, really wet, you know, or my asshole just starts tingling. You need to know these things so that you will be able to be like, you know what, that's fine. That actually happens a lot when we do this practice because everything's moving around and chi is moving around and it's circulating and it's making everything work. You need to know that. Okay? So you can journal about that.